Hey guys, and welcome to the Games Hard roundup of PS Plus content for December 2013. Today we'll be discussing games that are coming out on PlayStation 3, which is Grid 2 and Guacamelee. Out on Vita is Sonic and All-Stars Racing Transformed and Grand Theft Auto Liberty City Stories. And for the first time ever, we have PS Plus content for PS4, and that is Resogun and Contrast. So, starting with Grid 2 then, guys.
It's great.
Silence says it all.
It is great. We've been discussing this. The problem is, you've gone into the PS4.
Yeah.
You look back, and the PS3 racing games just don't quite hold up.
I've been spoiled already, and like literally looking at like Forza 5 and then going back to this, it's like I'm looking at like a PS2 game or something. Like, that's not very fair to it. To be fair, is it good at the time, and stuff, and it's an enjoyable game.
Yeah, I mean, having played it when it very first came out and reviewed it, I gave it 4 stars, and I still would give it 4 stars. It's not perfect. It tries a little bit too hard to be cool and edgy and have like Twitter and Facebook.
It has its own style, and I think that's what Codemasters have always done very well. In that they have their own style of racing, be it Dirt or Colin McRae back in the day, and
I feel that this game has a more actual focus this time, because I think Grid was trying too hard to be a combination of an arcade racer and a simulator at the same time, which was a confusing thing. But Grid 2 knows what it is. It knows it's an arcade racer. And, in that respect, it's fun. I'm not a big fan of arcade racers. I'm more of a fan of, like, Need for Speed, if you're going to go for arcade. But saying that, it's a good fun game. It's
good. And the story, I use story loosely, but
the
career mode, it has at least some form of story behind it. You do have, you're a rising star in a rising organisation of racing, and it's just kind of fun because you do see yourself building up fans, and with the implementation of things like YouTube, it just does a bit more character to it.
Yeah, sure.
And yeah, the racing itself is really fun, like being able to drift around corners. Doesn't hold up to PS4 graphics, but for a PS3 game, it is actually quite nice looking. Like the sort of forestry and stuff like that. It's got nice little details like squirrels running across the road, which is quite difficult to pick out, but it's quite
current gen
nice.
Squirrels.
Squirrels. Can never hit them. It's far too hard.
Did I just say current gen?
It's old gen.
Old gen.
But yeah, generally speaking, I would say definitely pick it up if you're a fan of racing games and you're not going to be put off by the graphics not being quite up to PS4 standards. Then it is still a great racing game, and I would still give it 4 stars.
Excellent. So that's Grid 2. We'll now move on to the second game for PS3, which is Guacamelee, which is also cross-buy on Vita as well.
Sweet.
I've played both, and I absolutely love Guacamelee.
I love this game.
Yeah, really
so
good.
Much.
I've only played the beginning, but it was good.
Top notch beginning. No, it's a great game. Really harks back to the good old days of platforming. Colour palette's beautiful as well.
It has a surprisingly kind of tricky, extensive combo system.
Yeah, it does.
Like I was sort of going to this expecting it to be quite generic, quite easy, like you just jump on enemies or something like that, like that kind of platformer mechanics, but it wasn't at all. I actually found it quite a challenging thing, how you have to like roll to like dive into people to like avoid their attacks, and it's very comprehensive. It's very sophisticated,
especially as you get further through the game, when you get the more powerful combos, it gets really quite crazy actually.
I'm getting to that chicken combo.
The chicken combo.
Brilliant. But like some of the combos in that were just really difficult. I was there for a while just trying to get that right.
I'm really looking forward to see what Drinkbox Studios are going to do next, because they've come up with some fantastic games so far, and just the depth of Guacamelee in terms of it's just charming narration.
Yeah, it's so funny, isn't it?
Yeah. And I've already said it, but the colour palette is just amazing.
It's a stunning looking game.
Yeah.
As simple as it is, and that cartoon comic-y look to it, it is absolutely stunning, and it's so slick in the way everything moves. Even like the little speech bubbles that come out of people and everything. It's all very, very smooth, and it transitions lovely, and it's a very, very polished game.
Yeah, it is. And talking about Vita as well, I mean, you do have the option of it's one of the only games on PS3, and you can play as crossplay with the Vita as well. So you can play 2-player, one on the Vita, one on the PS3.
Wicked.
Yeah, it works really good. I think on the Vita it works really well. I think I played it predominantly on the Vita.
Okay.
Because I just think that those kind of games kind of suit themselves.
It does
that kind
suit
of game.
to that kind of concept.
Yeah. And you got the touchscreen controls that you can also implement to just throw the bad guys around. You know, when you're doing the combo, and then you press the triangle, and you can
get that
throw them
directional.
across.
Yeah.
I just love the theme as well, and there's so many references to. Have you seen all the references to all the there's got like references to games and old like pop culture and references.
I've seen like the castle crashes in there and stuff
great.
like that, and
it's really cool.
There's lots of little details, isn't there? It's great to see.
Yeah, and long may it continue this kind of indie resurgence of kind of platforming games. I'm really looking forward to what people like companies like Dreambox are going to come up with next. So I would give it a solid 5 stars, I would say.
Yep.
Definitely.
Same here.
Very, very good. All right, so let's go on to Vita then. Cool. We've got Sonic and All-Stars Racing Transformed. I think
I have played on the Wii U.
Yeah, it's all right.
It's good.
Yeah,
solid enough. Really fun. It's fun racing. It's not Mario Kart.
No.
But it's one of the nearest things you can get to it.
Yeah, it's a solid racer, man. These kind of games get a lot of, slack, especially Little Big Planet karting. Like, okay, you know exactly what you're going to get. It's just one of those games that you can probably just play with your gran.
What I'd say is that Little Big Planet karting was a little bit too empty.
Yeah.
Like it had no soul. Whereas
that's a fair point.
Sonic Racing, it genuinely is really imaginative and has a lot of heart behind it. There's a great Harrier mission like racetrack in Transformed, where you start off just driving and then you take off, like literally take off the Harrier, and you suddenly turn into planes.
Yeah.
And then you're flying through all these rings to like get boosts, and you're shooting people in the air, like having dog fights. And then you land on the other Harrier, and you go around a corner. You go back off the Harrier. Then you land in the water, so you're going along as a little like a hovercraft, and then you can either carry on doing that until you reach like a runway up onto the Harrier, or you can go off a boosting ramp and go into a plane and speed overhead everyone.
It's pretty awesome, actually. I think it's got a good like kind of premise. Like each race is never really that boring.
Yeah,
because of that dynamic. Because like you have one lap as one thing, one lap as the next.
I think the third lap can change drastically.
And sometimes the route completely changes as well. And it's just I think it's charming. I really like the inclusion of Wreck-It Ralph.
Yes.
That's a really cool character to use. It's not bad. And I think on Vita, to be honest, I have played it on consoles, and I've played on Wii U as well, actually. And I think I wouldn't give it the time of day unless it was on Vita. I think that's quite a good stroke.
Yeah.
I think it's quite a good thing, because like I'm at the point now where I've still got a couple of games to play on Vita, but I think that could get some time on a train, for example, just to smash out a few laps.
Yeah. I mean, I'd probably give it a tentative 4 stars.
Maybe 3, maybe.
Maybe 3?
Yeah, kind of average. Yeah, 3.
Depends. I think it depends how old you are. As a kid, maybe.
Cool. Next then, and finally on the Vita is Grand Theft Auto Liberty City Stories, which was originally on the PSP.
Yes. Which I think it's still available on PS Plus for the PSP. I think.
Yeah, probably.
You can still download it. I'm sure I saw it on there. So
yeah, I think it's something kind of goes over. But we'll keep it brief on this, because I think everyone knows like how good the GTA games are.
Obviously.
Everywhere. I played this originally on PSP. It's fantastic. Just extension of Liberty City. And so you really need to know. It's kind of cool. It's kind of like Chinatown Wars, and it's great. Yeah, definitely try it if you haven't played it yet.
Do it.
Yeah, boy. So finally, we're going to do a quick run through of PS4 games. Unfortunately, we're bound by law not to show.
You're not allowed to record it yet.
Yeah, not yet. We didn't really want to risk it, but next month we'll try. If they still haven't lifted the ban, we'll try and do something with Twitch, but we'll let you know on that. So we'll start off with my joint favourite game of next gen. That's Resogun.
Fantastic.
Yes.
Absolutely so addictive.
Yeah.
So fun. It looks stunning. I mean, it's one of those, it's such a simple premise, isn't it? You just literally, you go around in a circle and you shoot things. Arcade style is, it's one of like, just reminiscent of some of the first ever computer games, and yet it's just so much fun.
Yeah.
It just captures all the fun of all those old games. Like,
Yeah, I mean, I reviewed this a few days ago, and I say in my review, but it just kind of goes back to the old school gaming of like Gallagher and stuff, but just brings it back and strips it back to just simple gaming at its best.
yeah,
And like, I also mentioned, like, when I originally got the 360, I just bought Geometry Wars, and that's exactly what I got reminded of.
Yeah,
like
yeah,
that.
definitely.
One of my first experiences on the new generation of console. I kind of just go, and it's just testament to just how good that kind of game is. And I've just spent so much time on Resogun already. It's such a good game. Definitely pick it up if you haven't tried it already. It is an almighty 5 stars from us.
yeah, absolutely.
Awesome. So finishing up on this PS Plus roundup is Contrast.
Which I love the design, and
Yes.
the music,
Yeah, man.
and the environments.
But
It's-
unfortunately, it's a little bit style over substance.
it is a little bit. I mean, you
Yeah.
can tell it right from the beginning, which is a little disappointing because as soon as you start it up, you sort of feel it doesn't quite have the polish it should.
No, it doesn't feel next gen.
No.
The camera, I have issues with the camera at some points.
It feels like an HD remake of like an Xbox game.
Yeah, yeah, it does.
But I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing in itself.
No, I mean,
I have some issues with some of the mechanics. on it.
Yeah.
yeah, it's a little bit of a shame. I think it was a good idea, but not polished enough.
No.
Yeah, I love the thought of it.
Yeah.
I love the idea of it, but it just doesn't really deliver.
And I think if I didn't love the sort of the era that it's set in, and like I said, all the art style and the music, then I
Art
probably
Deco sort of
yeah,
style, yeah.
I wouldn't give it as much time as I currently am and want to.
But yeah, I think aside from our initial thoughts and how the game plays and stuff, it is kind of important that these kind of games get played. I think it's always encouraging that Sony are pushing these games. I know this was a replacement to
Drive Club.
but still that shouldn't be kind of beat down at all, because I think as long as they keep providing this kind of content, it's always going to be good.
It's by no means a bad game.
No,
either.
of
It's-
course.
It does do some pretty cool, interesting things, like light mechanics. And
Yeah, and while
puzzles
there
and-
won't be that many games released in the next month or so, I think like it will get played by quite a few people, hopefully.
Yeah, I think so. I think in contrast
Haha!
to Resogun, the difference is I would pay for Resogun,
Yes.
where I don't think I would for contrast. I think it's a good PS Plus free game,
Yeah.
but you know, if you haven't got PS Plus and you're gonna buy one or the other, go for Resogun.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Say
We would finish that
3?
on a 3 stars.
3
yeah,
stars.
an average 3 stars.
Yeah, that's fair.
All right, guys. So that's December 2013 of PS Plus. Join us next month for January and see what treats are in store. Thanks for listening, guys. I've been Matt. He's been Rich.
Goodbye.
And he's been Tom.
Goodbye.
Thanks for listening.